All right, welcome. Say, last week I showed you how I mix my Jax 321. Today I'm going to show you how I mix my supplemental feeding. And my supplemental feeding consists of my Fulvic Acid, Recharge, Mammoth P, and SNS 209. And I usually do this once a week, usually on the weekends. And it's pretty simple. The order I don't think really makes a difference. I usually just start off with the Fulvic Acid, and we just mix it in. I got this 10-gallon trash can here, and I got it filled up to 6 gallons. That's what we're going to be feeding out. So anyways, everything's pre-measured. It's pretty simple. You just dump it in there, mix it up, one ingredient at a time. You do not have to pH this when you're done. I was going over the Recharge site, and Scotty over there, I thought I read somewhere where he said you're gonna have to pH it. It'll balance out in the root zone. So lately I haven't even been pHing it. Haven't had any negative results. Now they do say Recharge will not burn your plants, but what I found is if I use a full strength Jax 321 and Recharge, I get plant burn. Now that doesn't mean the Recharge is burning it. It means it might just be helping it absorb more nutrients that it can't handle. So in any case, I cut my bucket down here. It's RO water, and then I cut my Jax 321 down to a third, or 33%, and then the rest is RO water. So I got 2 gallons of Jax 321 solution in with another 4 gallons of RO water. Okay, and that seems to work pretty good. We got right around 500 parts per million, and the plants seem to like it, and they're still getting their nutrients on the weekends. Now, one thing I've changed on my feed chart, which is available for download on my website, KootMed.com, but up here, I've got my base nutrients here, and the only one that's not Jax 321 is the silica, but then my supplementals over here, and I just do these once a week. Now everything, including the SNS 209, is done with a supplemental. And what I'm trying to do is keep my reservoir just as clean as I can. In other words, I just have the Jax 321 and the silica in there, and that's it. Everything else gets fed once a week, fresh, right out of the, I mix it up, a fresh batch for it. Okay? So the SNS 209, normally I go 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, and then quit at week 5. Well, because we're only feeding this once a week instead of 3 times a week, which is my normal feeding regimen, because I'm not mixing in with the reservoir, I decided, well, rather than skipping you go 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, we don't skip the 2 weeks off. Okay, we feed right on through to week 5, and in the end, you end up using just about the same amount of SNS 209. Okay, and so in it's systemic, so your plants have that protection. It's just at a slower rate it builds up as opposed to all the time. So Mammoth P, we're adding in a double dose. I'm using a 2 milliliters per gallon as opposed to 1. Okay, and that's because again we're only feeding out once a week. Okay, as opposed to being in the reservoir. And Recharge, I've always fed 2.5 grams per gallon. That seems to work good, and the Fulvic Acid is 0.08 grams per gallon. Okay, so that's it. Let me get a few of these dumped in here and stirred up. I'll get my camera set up so you can watch. All right, so stay tuned. All right, well, let's start off with the Fulvic Acid. Like I said, I've got these pre-measured. We just dump it in there. Okay, and then stir it around. And this particular type of Fulvic Acid dissolves really well. You don't have to take a whole lot of to get it to dissolve. I had some other that I bought off of Amazon, and it was a nightmare. It didn't want to dissolve. Now this stuff, so you can bring the bottle in here so you can see. This is the same kind that the Green Genes uses, and you can get it from let's see, it's customhydronutrients.com. I'll put a link in the description section below. But this is really good stuff. You will pay shipping, but it's not that expensive, and it'll last you a long time. All right, so we got that in there. Now we're just going to go over to our Recharge. Dump it in there. Stir it up. Now the recharge, I like giving a good stir. I get down to the bottom too. Okay, pretty simple. Okay, now I've got my mammoth pea here in a syringe. We're just gonna squirt it in here like this. Okay, and I'm gonna go ahead and dump my SNS 209. This is 8 milliliters per gallon in here. Okay, and then we'll get it all stirred up. Down here at the bottom, make sure we get any particles up there mixed up. Okay, that's it. Now the only other thing that I do when I feed this out, if you watch the feeding video, if you go to my website and click on the feeding link, there's 3 videos. Well, there'll be 3 videos there when I finish this one. Is I have this pump. It's a little 130 gallon per hour pump, and it just sits in the bottom, and I just pump it out. I've got a ball valve. I think you've seen it on the end of a hose here. Okay, to control it. Pump it out, and I feed my plants out. Okay, and that's how I do it. It's nothing big. Once a week, like I said, and I believe I explained to you the theory of what I'm trying to do as far as keeping my nutrient reservoir as clean as possible. Okay, so I don't have any, and like you can't put recharge in there and keep it for a week. When you mix it up, you got to use it because it's got a lot of organic stuff in it, and you don't want it fermenting in your tank, and if you're using the drip system in your lines. So anyways, that's about it. Again, the feed chart's available for download on the website. So is a parts list as far as this pump, this 10-gallon trash can that I'm using to feed out. And that's about it. So stay tuned. We'll keep you posted.